Yoonies gooning for Yoon, whatever you want to call it, you know, that are going nutty mode. They don't look young, yeah. Worth noting that it is mainly men between 1929 that like former President Yoon. So yes, this is the incel army. You'll notice how other protests were just listening to girl group music because women were driving force behind the impeachment protest compared to this. Why are you calling the president incel? Because he is an incel.
현장 반발과 현장과의 마찰이 없이 집행하는 부분에 대한 고민이 좀 있어 왔을 거고요.
So the National Police is, has an arrest warrant that they are trying to arrest them, but it seems like he has bunkered up. XBC is protesting the North Korean spies. You should debate him. What the hell is that? The North Korean spies? Yes, chatters, he has a wife, I know, and he loves his wife. But also, he still drummed up support from the incel forces. XBC are streaming from the pro-Yoon protest trying to block his arrest. They went full Korean MAGA saying that the commies are taking over. That's amazing. Oh, God, I love how stupid our politics are. And how they end up corrupting the minds of politics enjoyers globally. That's amazing. My mom's in the Korean alt-right pipeline thinking that North Korea and China was behind the airplane crash and other conspiracies, and thinks that Yoon Suk Yeol was 100% in the right, getting rid of all the corruption. Is there anything I can do? That is amazing, dude. Signs of resistance from the presidential security as the arrest team encounters a wall of vans blocking their path. CIO officials got off from their cars and entered the presidential residence on foot. Approximately 20 presidential security officers are in Yoon's residence and are resisting Yoon's arrest. CIO officials are having a standoff. A tense moment now. Yeah. Not a peep. All of this discontent happening in South Korea and not a peep from the United States of America. If you want to understand where the State Department's interests lie, understand that, you know, I don't think they care as much, regardless of who ends up manning the helm, you know, grabbing the reins of Korean power. But having said that, they do not have stop the steal. Oh my God, they have stop the steal signs. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're going to be like, build the wall. Oh my God. Oh my God. Build the wall. Beautiful image. They are literally wearing MAGA hats. They very much care. Korean Democrats will kill military alliance with Japan.
South Korean president who tried to institute martial law and was removed and suspended from office. You can see the crowd here, including MAGA hat, American flags. We can take it through the crowd here. These are, of course, hardcore conservative supporters who are trying to block the arrest. There is now an arrest warrant for the president who has been impeached. These people very passionate, protesting all day, in fact, laying down in front of his residence. at one point. They want this police action to stop. They say it is wrong. And President Yoon is encouraging his supporters to do so. Very animated crowd.
Amazing. That is amazing, dude. I feel like I gotta go. I gotta go to South Korea, man. It's popping over there. They're saying stop the steal in English too.
Stop the steal! 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 Stop the steal!
We will never atone for the crimes that we have committed. Okay. America's interventions around the globe are so vast and so severe and so awful and also endlessly persistent. Like, colonization doesn't even begin to explain this. Yeah, this is like beyond imperialism. The amount of brain rot that we have exported to the globe is crazy. Connor is getting not Elon, Adrian Dittman on. Not Elon Musk. Hold on. Connor said DMs though. How do we know he actually responded to DMs? I believe it. How about 3 or 4 PSD tomorrow? It doesn't have to be exact. Just love planning ahead for Fortnite Friday. Hit me back on DM soon. The protesters support Yoon are also frowned upon by a lot of Koreans, supposedly because Korea is still under national mourning due to the plane crash. Unless specifically timed with a low chance of alteration by external forces, anticipating the exact timing of events is unrealistic. Speaking of South Korea, did you see the season 2 of Squid Game? Yeah, I started watching it. Any other updates, not from like an insane hog account, about what's happening in South Korea? Play Red Velvet again, please. No. Okay, fine. Okay. Play Marvel Rivals and get boosted by Noko. Here, let's see.
Extraordinary images, extraordinary. Steve, this would be, you know, extraordinary images, extraordinary in terms of this development. What are we expecting?
Well, it seems as though that this crisis that has really erupted in South Korea now for a month. In fact, it was a month ago today that Yoon Suk Yeol, the president, issued that ill-fated declaration of martial law, which triggered this crisis in South Korea. But again, he's refused 3 different times to meet with investigators, of course, after the arrest warrant was issued by the Seoul Western District Court on Tuesday.
Can someone send me that Stop the Steal photo again? Of the South Korean incel? Please?
And now it has come to a head outside his residence in central Seoul, where about 3,000 police officers have joined with investigators from the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials.
No, not this one. There was a better one.
To be acting on that arrest warrant. Keep in mind, they have just 7 days until that from the issuance of the warrant.
Update. South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol's lawyer said Friday that investigators trying to detain the impeached leader were not acting lawfully, vowing to take further legal action against the move. Investigators have court-ordered warrant to detain Yoon. Third Korea possible? Who knows? Not the clip. There was a photo of the dude with the glasses holding up a MAGA sign. God damn it. This was the one. Thank you. Amazing.
Until it expires. So that would be at the end of Monday. So today and through this weekend, things could come to a boil and to a head, obviously. We have not gotten any reports yet whether the team of investigators have teamed up with the police to try and essentially break their way through hundreds of Yoon supporters who have rallied outside of the presidential residence as Yoon is said to be inside and staying there and refusing to cooperate. In fact, his legal team yesterday issued or made a petition in court as well to essentially say that any move to get the police and the anti-corruption investigators together would be an illegal move. In fact, this arrest warrant and the proceedings so far, the Yoon team has called illegal and invalid. So there's a standoff essentially right now, and we're going to have to see how this obviously plays out. It might not happen today. It could potentially happen over the weekend, but something will happen by Monday, obviously, when the arrest warrant potentially expires. And again, this investigation, the anti-corruption investigation team, if they do in fact arrest him, they would have then 48 hours to decide whether to formally arrest the president or release him. So lots yet to be determined.
And Steve, in fact, in just the last couple of minutes, we're hearing more Yonhap reporting saying that investigators in Korea have now entered Yoon's residence. So there has been indication from him that he would stay and fight it out in court. Do we know what sort of...
What they're reporting in the news isn't exactly what people are saying here in Korea. What are people saying in Korea? That the president is actually brave and we must stop the steal? Is that what you're going to say?
time frame, what happens from here? And this is a country that's engulfed in sort of so many different types of crises at the moment. Do we expect any sort of stability anytime to come?
Well, we obviously have to hear the results from the Constitutional Court. So following that impeachment on December 14th, the ball was then handed on to the Constitutional Court and they've begun, we're hearing, deliberations on the move to potentially remove President Yoon. So the Constitutional Court would, either have to rule by, I don't know the exact date, but on whether to uphold.
The congressman had discretionary spending where they could basically spend what they want. The opposing party wanted to audit them. Okay. What part does the congressman who were being audited refuse to work with Yoon? So here's the question. What's the part where Yoon purchasing North Korean uniforms to try to do a false flag attack, but then actually doing a martial law without even doing the false flag attack, where that part of the process becomes an issue? I like that you were like, what they're reporting on the news isn't exactly what people are saying here in Korea. And then what you reported to me about what people are saying in Korea are just the Yoon heads. Yeah, I know. I don't have this opinion that other countries are monolithic in their understanding of politics. I'm certain that there are Yoon heads out there. Okay? Some Yoonies gooning for Yoon, whatever you want to call it, that are going nutty mode and trying to find ways in which they must defend their beautiful president.
Hold the impeachment and then go ahead for the proceedings to potentially remove the president. So there are still a number of...
The uniform story was debunked weeks ago. The more serious charge and investigation right now is that Yoon approved the military conducting drone incursions in the North Korea to provoke a North Korean attack and pave the way for martial law. I think it seems like his ultimate goal was to gear up for war with North Korea. And I'll take it one step further. Okay, I'll put my conspiracy hat on for a second. There's a reason why it's awfully weird, suspicious, maybe even a little too convenient that Joseph Robinette Brandon hasn't said anything about President Yoon's ridiculous actions so far, which leads me to believe, given the position of South Korea as the bulwark against socialism during the Cold War, bulwark against the USSR during the Cold War, and DPRK's allegiance and closeness to Russia, I would go so far as to say that this would detangle the DPRK, decouple the DPRK from Russia if they were too busy engaging with South Korea, which leads me to suspect that maybe the State Department is not upset. Maybe they're upset that that Yoon was a little too stupid and couldn't pull it off, but I don't think they were upset at the attempt. As a matter of fact, they might have even signed off on the attempt. That's all I'm saying. And if you think that that is a far-fetched conspiracy theory, you sound like Alex Jones. I sound like Alex Jones. This is what I mean. When it comes to foreign policy, so many people are just simply oblivious to like America's involvement and intervention in every country, especially a country like South Korea, a nation that like only exists because America divided the country, that has a permanent military base on the nation state. And you're like, oh, that's just like Alex Jones. Yeah, that's just like vampire lizard people. You're right. Yes. DPRK sending soldiers to Ukraine and aligning itself with Russia is obviously something that the American government doesn't appreciate. So would the American government use a vassal state like South Korea to forcibly remove that allegiance? Certainly. I think the real interesting party in this equation is China, because I don't think China itself is all too happy about Russia's ongoing efforts of occupying Ukraine. China is Mr. Don't fuck up the bag. China is Mr. Look at our fucking wonderful trains. China as a nation state is like, oh, dude, look at all the innovative technological product that we're putting out there. Look, we have 6th generation fighter jets. Look how sweet they are. So China doesn't like that Russia is, one, consistently waging war in Ukraine. They've made that very clear. And two, China probably doesn't appreciate that Russia and North Korea are more firm in their relationship with one another. That probably threatens Chinese control over North Korea. You've lost it if you believe DPRK is fighting in Ukraine. I don't know if the DPRK is fighting in Ukraine or how much it's exaggerated, but I do know that they have a security cooperation. I also know that I don't know what China only gains from a prolonged conflict in Ukraine by gall-wasping Russian assets. I don't think China gains by Russia's prolonged conflict in Ukraine.
Procedural steps to go. But right now, the Anti-Corruption Investigation Force is acting on that Seoul Western District Court arrest warrant that was issued Tuesday. So that will come to a head. I believe President Yoon is probably trying to hold out as long as possible for the warrant to expire on Monday and then move to the next step. So there's a procedure going on here. Whether, of course, the anti-corruption investigation officers and the police can, as you said, they've entered the house, whether they can formally arrest him and take him into custody and begin that process is something that is going to be playing out over the next few hours.
And in fact, Steve, this is sort of playing out over the next few minutes, it seems. Investigators in South Korea having entered Yoon's...
You don't think they appreciate the West is using some of their attention on Russia? Most Korea and China experts agree with Hasan. I am in these circles. What you say is 100%.
Residents have now attempted to arrest Yoon. They've begun exercising their arrest warrant. This is according to the latest in Yonhap, and obviously this is moving very quickly.
I think China gains from Russia's war by having the U.S. deplete its arms. I don't think China gains from Russia's war because Russia depletes U.S. munitions, especially because there are very different battles that would take place if China were to ever engage with America like that. I don't think that anyone would benefit from that, and I don't think China wants that either. I think that's a crazy thing to assume. You're making it seem as though America and China are gearing up for hot war rather than a cold one. If anything, at most it'll be a cold one.
We've also seen, of course, you know, a number of...
And yes, war is beneficial for countries like the United States of America that are sheltered from the worst aspects of said war, given its positioning, and also rely on a constant war economy for domestic manufacturing. If you are the number one exporter on the planet, if you're the manufacturing hub of the entire globe, and you rely on complicated trade agreements to ensure that you consistently get a steady flow of raw materials and also energy from numerous different partners on both sides of this said war, then yeah, it's not beneficial for you at all. Yeah, no one in China thinks the U.S. is distracted by Russia or Israel. This is Western rhetoric that assumes China can't wait to pounce. We simply think of... Yeah, if that was the case, also, China would have literally invaded Taiwan when October 7 happened, which is what people were saying China was going to do at the time. Like, if this is the kind of attitude that China had, why wouldn't they have invaded Taiwan in America's like most disorganized moment? If that was genuinely an interest that they had. I think they just don't want to. COVID kind of shut that down. No, they're not done yet. What? You think COVID is the reason why China hasn't invaded Taiwan? Are you out of your mind? Guys, please stop. What are you guys saying? The current cooperation they have with Taiwan is beneficial. Sure, they would obviously want international recognition for Chinese Taipei as a part of the People's Republic, but America's never going to let that happen. And they're going to keep using Taiwan as a military base while America simultaneously says, "Oh, we have an understanding that Taiwan is China, but also not."
Aspects of this crisis, and the fact that the opposition as well as the leadership that remains in place hasn't been in place for very long. They're now dealing with, of course, not just this constitutional crisis and the governance crisis, but also trying to manage the country through the aftermath and the mourning period after the Jeju Airlines disaster as well. We've also seen South Korea cutting their growth forecast after this martial law fiasco. How big are the challenges?
Not just the USA, West allies are on the same note. There's nothing. The West allies are nothing. It's an invention. Okay? It's an invention of continued American dominance. Oh man, Estonia's opinions. I really want to know what Estonia's opinions are on the matter. We have NATO. Our Western allies are directly a part of American intervention around the globe. Okay?
For whoever the next government and leader is going to be.
The storm in South Korea right now, given the constitutional and presidential crisis and that air crash and a period of mourning in South Korea, it's just absolutely mind-boggling to think how and what the next steps of recovery of confidence will take as this constitutional crisis potentially can go for the next month or two as the Constitutional Court reviews the whole process. But, any next administration, if we want to even jump ahead and speculate on that, would obviously first task would be to restore that confidence and restore order in the presidential office.